Welcome to our novel, Sons of Power. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already.
Kombo resided in France, living in exile. However, this status hardly guaranteed his safety. A tactical team had a mission to extradite him from French territory and made meticulous preparations for his removal. He disavowed giving orders for the execution of my grandfather and his household, attributing this tragedy to overzealous officers. Meanwhile, in Kitonga, preparations for the referendum were in full swing. Major oil companies opposed the new code of conduct, but my mother, in her campaign for the referendum, included the nationalization of mining installations as a means to redistribute the country's wealth more equitably. The people, increasingly convinced that these multinationals had sponsored Kombo's tyrannical rule, enthusiastically supported this move. As expected, Kitonganese citizens overwhelmingly favored a return to absolute monarchy, with my mother being seen as a resolute and benevolent ruler, the embodiment of the Wabonga dynasty's values. Nearly 3/4 of the voters endorsed this choice in a vote that international observers deemed fair and transparent. Consequently, an imperial constitution was presented to the people. 50 representatives from civil society were tasked with proposing amendments to it if they felt it did not truly reflect the people's desires. The Constitution set forth several key development goals for the monarch to achieve over a 10-year period: maintaining an unemployment rate below 10%, ensuring a literacy rate surpassing 90%, achieving a GDP growth rate of 5%, providing 90% access to electricity, offering 90% access to clean drinking water. Failure to meet 4 out of these 5 major development goals would result in abdication. In such a case, the heir to the throne would ascend and have a decade to fulfill these objectives. My mother herself proposed these pivotal points, with a sincere intent to attain all 5 objectives, the first evaluation scheduled for the 2009 referendum. She firmly believed that the successful development of Kitonga would inspire neighboring territories to vote for a return to absolute monarchy in 2009. The new imperial constitution received approval from the people of Kitonga, and it was enforced on March 26, 1995. The leaders of surrounding territories expressed concern about these developments and anticipated that they would need to work towards improving living conditions in their lands to avoid facing the people's verdict in 2009. My mother was crowned Empress Ayeela Romana Nzinga Wabonga of Kitonga, and in accordance with the customs of the Wabonga clan, she was obliged to relinquish any other family affiliations, adopting solely the distinctive names of the Wabonga lineage. Thus, she ceased to be a princess of Roman Polynesia. Furthermore, she had 2 heirs. Despite being her eldest surviving son, I had already been designated as the heir to Emperor Mahina. This resulted in my younger brother, Prince Julius Caesar, inheriting the mantle of heir to the Wabonga clan. As a consequence, I held the position of second in the line of succession. In the unfortunate event of a tragedy befalling my brother, I would be tasked with assuming the roles of both ruler of Roman Polynesia and ruler of Kitonga, a daunting responsibility that seemed almost impossible to bear. It would entail the founding of the united Wahitawahe Wabonga dynasty, a prospect that haunted my worst nightmares. The first imperial decree issued by my mother established the Imperial Development Board of Kitonga, known as IDB or IDBK. Its primary objective was to construct the framework for civil and economic development by building infrastructure across the nation, essential for the Empress to achieve her 5 core objectives. The chairman of this institution was Dick Mavina Muyaka, a distinguished economist who had received his education at the Arlington School of Finance. His reputation in the field of European banking was impeccable, and he was renowned worldwide for his expertise in economic policy formulation aimed at stimulating growth and development. Subsequently, my mother turned her attention to the oil and mining sectors and immediately suspended all business permits. Companies were given a 30-day ultimatum to accept the new terms set forth in the Good Practices Charter she had drafted after Kombo's ousting, or leave the country. The most contentious provision of the charter was the new profit-sharing structure required by the Empress. companies were mandated to allocate 49% of their revenues to the Imperial Development Board in exchange for generous tax breaks among shareholders and the issuance of new permits. This clause garnered substantial support from the populace, who hoped that the additional funds would be used to improve their living conditions. Lagrange Energy, a firm largely controlled by the La Trotte-Berger family from France and implicated in the scandal of war tents supplied to Kiwanda militiamen, opposed the charter. They were subsequently expelled from Kitonga, compelled to sell their assets at market prices to a group of investors committed to upholding the charter. The Empress also announced that, for their crimes against the people of Kitonga, the La Trotte-Berger family would face a court trial, with parts of their assets earmarked for compensating affected families. France vehemently condemned this action, deeming it irrational. In retaliation, my mother ordered the closure of the French embassy in Kitonga and recalled her ambassador from France. This led to a diplomatic standoff with Vincent Roche, the newly elected French president. In a show of solidarity, we too closed our embassy in Paris and demanded the departure of the French ambassador from Constantinopolis. By January 1996, every major company in Kitonga's oil and mining industries had adhered to the Charter of Good Practices. Harrington Palaiologos Wahitawahe Enterprises, or HPW Enterprises, established offices in Kitonga in September 1995. Our family holdings had been involved in developing the infrastructure of Roman Polynesia for centuries, specializing in the construction of roads, railways, and manufacturing complexes for the automotive, aeronautics, and telecommunications industries. A recent discovery of oil reserves beyond the shores of the Waika group of islands prompted us to create an energy division, which contributed to electrifying the empire during the latter half of the 20th century. In partnership with the Imperial Development Board of Kitonga, we embarked on a nationwide survey to identify undiscovered oil fields, utilizing modern techniques we had acquired through our network of engineers. Within 6 months, we had uncovered several fields holding up to 2 billion barrels of oil. Permits were issued, and the construction of mining facilities commenced. Our family holdings fully funded this project without borrowing from any financial institution, unaware at the time of the pivotal investment we were making for years to come.
In the next episode, a vengeful Prince Karl Alexander tasks his men with the abduction of Antoine Kombo from the comfort of his exile in France. Meanwhile, another character enters into play in our story, one with a wealth of expertise in the military realm. We appreciate the time you took to watch the entirety of our video and would be honored to count you among our new subscribers. Thus, if you have not done it yet, we invite you to hit the subscribe button here and click on the notification bell to be notified about our upcoming videos. We are hoping to count you among our viewers in the next episode. See you then. Cheers.